This is CBS47 Action News Jax at noon. Local coverage you can count on.
Today, we remember the thousands of lives lost 18 years ago. Here's a live look at the New York City skyline where those innocent lives senselessly taken on September 11, 2001 are being honored today.
Plus, a cargo ship capsized in the St. Simon Sound. Sky Action News Jax was over the ship when the Coast Guards pulled out 4 men who were trapped in blistering heat. Right now, employees at the port wait for any word of getting back to work. This is Action News Jax at noon. I'm Letitia Barriola.
And I'm Phil Amato. Let's get caught up with the very latest now. Right now, the 4 men who were pulled from the engine room are home safely. The Coast Guard working to get part of the channel open within the next 24 hours. And underway right now, there's a meeting on how the capsized ship is affecting the port.
Action News Jax has team coverage on the cleanup of the Golden Ray cargo ship. And we begin with Action News Jax Lorena Inclan on what port officials are doing to ensure other shipping companies and workers get back to normal.
The Port of Brunswick has been at a standstill since Sunday morning. It is now Wednesday, and port officials are hoping to get it back open as soon as tomorrow. I did reach out to the Port of Brunswick on my way here. I'm waiting to hear back from them, but I'm hoping to ask them what they're doing to make that happen, to open it up tomorrow. Here's what we know so far. The Golden Ray is blocking a portion of the channel there in the St. Simon Sound. The Coast Guard is focusing right now on the environment. So far, the Coast Guard has reported no leaks, but the salvage operation could take weeks, even months, so this is something they're taking day by day. I have reached out to the Coast Guard as well to see if they're going to provide any updates, and they tell me they're not sure yet, but they will keep me posted. Right now, there is a meeting going on here at Brunswick at the International Longshoremen's Association where port officials are here speaking with the dock workers. I'm going to step inside, see if I can speak to some of them, and we will give you an update at 5. And you can also follow me on Twitter for updates throughout the day at Lorena AN Jax. For now, reporting from Brunswick, Lorena Inclan, CBS47 Action News Jax.
Workers at the Brunswick port have been off the job for days as crew works to safely remove that ship. Action News Jax Jamarlo Phillips spoke with workers who say many aren't getting paid.
This port behind me is pretty empty right now. If you take a look, it's been closed ever since the Golden Ray overturned at St. Simon's Island. The Coast Guard says they're working to reopen it as early as this Thursday. International Longshoremen's Association President Richard Nixon remains hopeful.
You know, everybody's concerned about when we're going to get back to work, how long the channel is going to be closed, So, and then not only that, we don't want to lose any of our work to any other port.
The group is a labor union representing longshore workers along the East Coast.
We deal with all kind of cars, you name it, Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Kias, Hondas, Aston Martin.
Nixon says the port is the second busiest in our country. He says over 600 people work here, but after this vessel overturned in the shipping channel, many of them won't get paid.
You never know who has what to pay.
The Coast Guard told Action News Jax the goal is to at least reopen part of the shipping channel by Thursday.
Business is business, but, we pretty much want to do our own work so that, the men and women that work out of the port can take care of themselves and their families.
Coming up at 5, hear from a worker who helped load the Golden Ray and how being out of work impacts his family. In Brunswick, Georgia, I'm Jamarlo Phillips, CBS 47, Action News Jax.
Action News Jax will continue to follow this story as crews work to get the port back open. For alerts straight to your phone, download the Action News Jax mobile app.
Let's take a live look now at New York City, where today we remember those who lost their lives 18 years ago on September 11th. Ground Zero, where today all the victims' names were read out loud.
And this is the scene that captivated an entire world exactly 18 years ago today. Boy, still hard to see. Rescue operations lasted for days, recovery efforts for years. And families across Northeast Florida coming together to honor those who lost their lives on that day.
That's right. New at noon, Action News Jax Beth Russo shows us what Naval Station Mayport is doing to make sure future generations also remember.
Here at Naval Station Mayport, these ropes are used to hoist the flag every single day. Today, it's flying at half-staff in honor of the thousands who lost their lives in the 9/11 terror attacks. It's part of the regular routine at Naval Station Mayport. But today, there's more meaning behind the raising of this flag.
It was definitely a game changer for the military that day.
Command Master Chief Terry Zenneker says the images of September 11, 2001 are always in the back of her mind.
As we were, in disbelief, the second plane hit, and we just went into response mode from there because we didn't know what was next.
She tells me even though it was much earlier in her career while she was on base in San Diego, it's impossible to forget the impact, some immediate.
We shut down the ship, the piers, secured the base.
Others long-lasting.
It changed our way in the world. I mean, since that day forward, it's never been 9/10/01 again. We'll never be there again.
Now the lives lost are part of the reason she and other military members salute.
This is why we serve, and this is why we continue to serve.
I talked to a firefighter who joined the department since 9/11. I'll tell you the impact those attacks have had on the job that he does every single day. Coming up all new on Action News Jax at 5. Reporting at Naval Station Mayport, Beth Russo, Action News Jax.
Many first responders who risked their lives to help the moments the towers fell are still dealing with health impacts some 18 years later now. Action News Jax' Danny Bazzini picks up our team coverage live in St. Augustine. And Danny, you talked to one local first responder who was at Ground Zero on 9/11.
Despite the time passed, everyone remembers what they were doing on this day 18 years ago, especially first responders. Nearly 100 firefighters and locals in St. Augustine paid tribute today to those who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. It's a ceremony that was first held 2 days after the terrorist attacks happened and continued every year since. Although this day means something a little different to a local retired New York firefighter who answered the call of duty to try and rescue anyone he could find inside the Twin Towers.
Every firefighter was called into duty that day. And over the next 6 months, we all worked on the pile, search and rescue. Spent a lot of our time going to a lot of funerals. 343 firefighters died that day.
He tells us it's a special yet sad day for him and everyone else who worked on that day. Tonight, I'll tell you the message he hopes this day brings to our entire nation. Live in St. Augustine, Danny Bazzini, CBS47, Action News Jax.
Hundreds of you have been sharing your memories about 9/11 with Action News Jax and under the hashtag Never Forget. I want to go through some of them. Helen May says, at work at the hospital in a patient's room when we could not believe what we were seeing. Horrible. Carolyn says, I was at home and happened to be watching the news. I will never forget the sinking feeling in my stomach. I don't think any of us will forget that. And Tawana says, my freshman year in high school in driver's ed class, I remember this day very well. Well, you can share where you were, your thoughts and prayers by heading to Action News Jax' Facebook page.
And we certainly can't forget. Meanwhile, in July, President Trump signed an act into law that extends the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund. It was set to expire next year. A new law championed by comedian Jon Stewart ensures the compensation for victims through 2090. Action News Jax is continuing coverage of 9/11 memorials and honors on actionnewsjax.com. We have new pictures from Ground Zero, the story of the 9/11 dogs who helped save lives, and also video from ceremonies nationwide.
5 people stabbed at a Florida business have been rushed to the hospital for treatment. This is new video of the massive police response in Tallahassee this morning. A hospital spokesperson says the victims are expected to survive. The suspect has been taken into custody. Police have not released a motive.
Well, take a look at this. This is video taken out of Jax Beach this morning of a water spout. This video taken just north of the pier. Look at that. You can see that thing forming in the sky. Isn't that crazy?
Classic.
Corey's here to tell us more about it. That's so unexpected this morning, find something like that, right?
Right, and this is a weather pattern with the onshore wind, basically when it can rain at any time. We may get a water spout out of them, and we got several pictures into the First Alert Weather Center. So we are tracking those showers on First Alert Doppler HD. There are just a couple of them. As I zoom down to Duval County, there's not a whole lot going on. Then we reach up into Nassau and Charlton Johnson County, and there are a couple of these little dots. You can kind of see the general flow in the atmosphere. It's from the northeast to the southwest, and that's that wind out of the northeast, 10 to 15 if you are east of I-95, and then it drops off a little bit on the west side between about 5 and 10 miles per hour. Our Riverside First Alert Skycam network, look at the puffy white clouds. This is typical of this kind of weather pattern that we're in, that onshore wind is kind of moving the clouds from the ocean over the land, and some of them drop a little bit of rain. It is pretty hot out there, 89 at JIA, and middle 80s the farther south you are, 87 degrees on the south side. We're always tracking the tropics here in the First Alert Weather Center. There is this tropical wave, Invest 95L. It's going to move to the northwest over the next few days. It means rain and a little extra rain for us over the weekend. I'm going to tell you about 2 other areas I'm watching in the tropics coming up in the First Alert forecast.
The state of Florida offering to help the Bahamas. Governor Ron DeSantis announced more than $11 million in donations will go to the islands there. This is video of people waiting for supplies. The Florida Division of Emergency Management and FPL are donating nearly 600,000 bottles of water. Delta Airlines and public supermarket charities are also donating money. Several other companies are stepping in to help as well.
In an exclusive interview, a JTA bus operator says a man spit on him, then punched the bus door, shattering the glass. We got a picture of the door on George Margobejo's JTA bus after police say Vincent Carter punched the door, broke it around noon on Monday. JTA says he was arrested on Tuesday. Passenger captured this video of Carter just after the attack at Union and Pearl Streets downtown. Margobejo says Carter also threatened him with a brick.
Do you fear for your life?
Yes, I can't sleep right now. I can sleep very good because I'm telling you, it's very scary.
In a statement, JTA tells Action News Jax they take the safety and security of our bus operators and customers extremely seriously. We continue to assess this incident with the help of JSO. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured by this senseless attack.
The New England Patriots' newest star is at the center of more controversy, the allegations against Antonio Brown.
Today marks 2 years since Hurricane Irma ripped through our area. Coming up, a look back at the devastation.
What to watch, brought to you by Ashley Home Store.
A live look right now. Many of us have been there in New York City, the 9/11 memorial site right now. That's the area of one of two reflecting ponds. Many people dropping off flowers and paying tribute to the victims lost on 9/11 some 18 years ago today. A couple moments of silence, 2 one-minute sections of moments of silence earlier today as those victims lost their lives 18 years ago.
President Trump marks the 18th commemoration today of the 9/11 terror attacks with a pledge to survivors and a warning to the Taliban. Action News Jack's Jacqueline Fell is in Washington with a look at the events around today's somber anniversary.
President Trump marked today with a moment of silence and spoke at a Pentagon ceremony. 184 people were killed at the Pentagon 18 years ago. The President and First Lady Melania Trump laid a wreath at the Pentagon in remembrance of the victims. In his speech, he recounted going to Ground Zero in New York after the planes hit. He promised the victims and the survivors they won't be forgotten. President Trump also talked about the breakdown in recent peace talks with the Taliban in Afghanistan. He brought up an attack last week in Afghanistan as a reason for ending those talks. He says the U.S. doesn't seek conflict, but will fight back if attacked again.
If anyone dares to strike our land, we will respond with the full measure of American power and the iron will of the American spirit, and that spirit is unbreakable.
President Trump also took part in a moment of silence at the White House with families of victims of the attacks, survivors, and former law enforcement officers. Down the street at the U.S. Capitol, members of Congress gathered on the steps, also observing a moment of silence. In Washington, Jacqueline Fell, CBS 47, Action News Jax.
The Patriots' newly acquired wide receiver is accused of raping his former trainer. A lawsuit was filed in a South Florida court Tuesday against Antonio Brown. According to the documents, Brown attacked the woman twice back in 2017 and once last year. In a statement released yesterday, Brown denies those allegations.
Well, 2 years ago today, Hurricane Irma swept through Jacksonville. The storm produced, remember this, widespread wind and damage, flooding downtown Jacksonville there, topping more than $7 billion in damage. And by the numbers, Irma killed 72 people in Florida. And you see that destruction right there on your left. The storm dumped 8 to 12 inches of rain and caused 32 record flood stages across northeast Florida and southeast Georgia. Wind gusts got up to 86 miles per hour at Jacksonville International Airport.
Now, certified Jacksonville's most accurate weather forecast. Action News Jax First Alert Weather.
Tropics top of mind here in northeast Florida and southeast Georgia. The peak of the hurricane season yesterday, the anniversary of Irma today, and a few areas that we're watching in the tropics. Watching very closely, Invest 98L. It's going to move to the northwest over the next few days. And conditions for development, they aren't all that great here over the Bahamas and as it approaches South Florida. As it moves into the Gulf, those conditions get a little bit better. So this may become a depression once it moves into the Gulf, but it would be moving away from northeast Florida and southeast Georgia by that point. So we're going to keep a close eye on it regardless. Then we have these two areas in the central Atlantic where there is some slow development possible with these, more so this wave that just moved off the west coast of Africa. So we're going to keep a close eye on those over the next 7 to 10 days. Check out the spaghetti plots here. This is Invest 94L. It is expected to move toward the Caribbean over the next few days. And then here is 95L. Keeping all the numbers in line here. You can see the consensus has it moving to the northwest, moving over South Florida, and then into the Gulf of Mexico. Here's our JIA First Alert Skycam network. Look at the puffy white cumulus clouds and a little bit of rain down here. 89 degrees now out at the tarmac, northeast wind at 13. 5-sweep First Alert Doppler HD are looking right at those showers. They're here in Nassau County, just west of I-95 and US 17, tracking toward Callahan. if it hangs together within about the next 10 minutes. And as we go throughout the afternoon, if you live along the coast, there may be just one or two of these spotty showers, with most of the rain going away tonight. Once we get into early tomorrow morning, that threat for showers is going to pop up again along the coast, and we'll be here to track that on Action News Jax this morning. Just a showery pattern with this onshore wind. Those winds are going to breeze up along the coast, especially as we get to Thursday and Friday. Afternoon temperatures, though, cooler than we've seen in the upper 80s and low 90s. And your weekend, which is always in view, that tropical disturbance moving into the Gulf looks like it throws some extra moisture our way, so the potential is there for heavy rain on Saturday and Sunday. Remember, you can download the Action News Jax First Alert Weather app. Just go to our website, actionnewsjax.com, and tune in today at 5 o'clock with Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Well, Apple is showing off their new lineup of devices. Coming up, the price tag on the new iPhone 11 and its new features.
Plus, the vaping epidemic is getting a boost to help combat the issue. Coming up, the new upgrade one program is getting that could help teens quit smoking e-cigarettes.
And today is 9/11, and this is a live look here at the One World Trade Center there, marking 18 years since the 9/11 attack. Today is all about the heroes, the victims, and how America came together that day. We'll be right back.
Apple has introduced 3 new editions of the iPhone. The iPhone 11, 11 Pro, and 11 Pro Max are the newest members of its lineup. The Pro edition sports a redesigned camera with a third camera lens. The new phones start at $699 for the entry-level model and go up to nearly $1,100.
The fight against teen vaping and flavored e-cigarettes just got a $160 million boost. Bloomberg revealed that it's funding a new program aimed at ending the epidemic. The Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids will coordinate the push.
New at 5 o'clock, say goodbye to strollers. More parents are wearing their babies. The 3 benefits children and parents get from being tethered together.
And hot with a few showers.
Hope you have a fantastic day.
Yeah, one final look at New York City and One World Trade Center.